Yes. So I have a question. It is actually quite different than the other questions that have been asked thus far, and it's pertaining to funding your business. So do you believe it's a smart move to get a loan to fund your business, to get it up and going?
I am probably a little scarred about that one. I went to a company when I was 17 years old. I was working in the eyeglass business, making eyeglasses, and I was an optician. And I went to this company who was an investment firm, and I pitched them an idea for this optical place. And I had a particular mall, strip mall that needed to go in. I had the demographics of the neighborhood. And a lot of people don't know, but the optical business has a huge markup. I mean, huge. Mm-hmm. It's like 400% huge. You will pay $400 or $500 for a pair of glasses that they paid $80 for. Wow. I mean, it's that big, or was that big at the time. And so I went to this company. I put a business plan together. I put together a presentation. I took it to them. I pitched it to them. They said it would never work, and I left. Maybe about 4 months later, they put an optical store in the same mall and basically took my plan and did it.
Wow.
So I'm one of those people where I'm like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it.
Right.
But that's not a universal across the board thing, because sometimes you use the 3 F's, friends, fools, and family, to fund your business.
Right.
And you need capital to make it work. Sometimes you can work a job and you do it as a side hustle until you build it to a certain point. Sometimes having a side hustle stops your business from ever growing.
Right.
Because you're always keep treating it as a side hustle and not as a main business.
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
So I think it's that answer, or that question, is more like, how long is a piece of string? I think it's idiosyncratic to the person and what you're capable of doing. You certainly can move faster when you take a loan because you have more capital available to you. However, you got to pay it back.
Right.
And sometimes you got to give up equity to get people's money. And sometimes that gives them ownership and gives them a voice in the business when they don't have the vision of the business.
Right.
So I think there's so many variables involved with that question. I think it more so depends on the individual and what they're capable of. But I would say it this way. I've never been fond of business partners unless you fight first. And I mean, you sit down and you fight it out first. Because if you go into a business with somebody and y'all haven't fought yet, it's going to be a problem. When money starts coming in, that's usually when now all the fights start coming out. So for me, it's like, we're going to fight now and get the battles done and talk about all things we need to talk about. Because when the money starts coming in, I don't want to talk about it.
That is so funny that you said that, because I literally was just reading a question from an M4 subscriber, and it says, how to handle disagreements with a business partner regarding spending / accruing debt. And I think you just gave the answer.
Yeah, well,
to some extent.
I think that issue is a little different.
Okay.
One of the things that plagues even ministry is the concept of God's one-man plan. People think decisions are made by committee, and they're not. I'll go back to what Steve Jobs said. One person has to be the keeper of the vision. Because when you just like in any of the old, I don't know if you guys remember the old Godzilla movies, but when the creatures that had 2 heads, they were always attacking each other and attacking the thing they're fighting.
Right.
So anything that has 2 heads is really just a problem. So somebody has got to be the one who has the vision that can make that decision to say, this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to do it. It's hard to have an equal partner.
That's what I was going to ask.
Right? Because if they don't agree, then you're stumped right then and there.
And what do you do?
So I think it's always one of those things where you have to be clear about who's in charge, who's going to make what decisions, who's responsible for what, and allow them to make those decisions. But I honestly think people are very sloppy about choosing their business partners. In other words, I would probably spend more time choosing a business partner than I would choosing a spouse. Because I feel like a spouse, at least you are intimate with that person, and there's certain things that come with it.
Right.
But when you are dealing with a business partner, they have a spouse who's in their ear, telling them things. That, you know what I mean? And now you just, there's a lot of things that could go south with that. But I think one person has to be the one who calls the shot. And that way they're responsible, whether it win, lose, or draw. That person is held accountable.
Right, and if the other person is not okay with that, they can go off and start their own thing, and they can go be the head of that.
That's it.
That's really good.
Would you consider choosing a business partner that is very much like you, that has the qualities that you have, or someone who is actually skilled in another area that you are potentially lacking on?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't choose a business partner unless I absolutely had to have one.
Right.
And so with that, now be dependent upon my exit strategy. Because a lot of people don't begin with the end in mind.
Right.
So in other words, if I'm trying to grow and walk away, I don't know that I want somebody just like me. They already have me.
Right.
I need somebody who's got the other side of what I don't have.
But can complement you, not compete with you.
Right. If I'm looking to keep that business long term, then I think I want somebody like me. Because then now I can train that person up and they think the way I think.
Right.
And now you can feel more confident when you're away from it that it's going to run well and that decisions are going to be made well. So I think it depends on ultimately where you're going, what you're trying to accomplish, because there's benefits to both.
Right.
But the other side of, I always think that it's important to surround yourself with people who see things differently than you. Because the key to making good decisions is having people around you who don't think like you think. It shores up your plan. Years ago, I had someone who worked for me that they always had the negative, always. I don't care what it was. You tell them, we're going to buy a shiny new Rolex. They complain about how shiny it was. And so, but that helped me because whatever the problem was that they amplified, I knew that was something I needed to fix.
Right.
So I kept them around just because they shored up some of my plans to help them be more successful. So I think you have to really, based on the business model, what you're trying to accomplish, determine, what best fits you, what best suits you here. And if you have two people that end up being like you better surround yourself with people who have what you don't have. Because see, I'm I'm not a routine person I'm routine in terms of my life. But if how some people could just rubber stamp all day?
Right. Yes.
I'm not that guy.
Right.
I need something new. I need something different. I need a new problem to solve. I need a new thing to tackle. And so for me, you got to have people who can,
Right.
right? Because if you don't have that, then you're going to be struggling with going every which way and not have people who are maintaining the ship or running the boat. So.
Right. Makes sense.